President Trump announcing last night as well that he will impose a 100% tariff on pharmaceutical products entering the U.S. starting October 1st, unless they are building manufacturing plants here stateside. EU and Japan will be exempt from the 100%, with the U.S. honoring the 15% cap that was put into place under the current trade deals. The sector taking the news in stride today. See a lot of green right there on the screen with the big pharma names. Our next guest says the move could be a relief for investors who have been uncertain about the sector since the initial tariffs announcement on April 2nd. So Citi Research Managing Director Geoff Meacham joins us now. Geoff, great to have you on. The fact that we're seeing the stocks trade higher, is that because this is a best case scenario for the drug makers?
Well, thanks for having me, first of all. I wouldn't say it's a best case scenario, but it definitely is a bit of a de-risking event. We've been talking about, as you mentioned, tariffs on the pharma industry really since April. And every week or every other week, it seems like there's kind of a new proclamation about the pharma and the drug industry. And so it does feel like companies that have already invested, they're going to, that's going to build some goodwill, and those that haven't, I'd be surprised if a lot of companies haven't already built new plants here or expanded their existing plants. But here we are, though. So it does feel like a bit of a relief.
All right. So I guess in terms of, because so many pharma names have announced plans to create more manufacturing here in the U.S., who are the ones that we should be watching that perhaps haven't, that could now potentially make an investment and or see increases to prices for imported drugs?
I mean, we put out a list of all the companies that have made public proclamations, and it's the entire industry. I would say the other segment that we haven't talked about, the spec pharma and the generics industries, there may be lower margin, type of P&Ls. And I think a lot of the manufacturing may not be here in the U.S., but a lot of the big guys, though, big cap biotech and big cap pharma, that includes U.S. and European companies. There are, plans that are already in place, and I think they've been expanded over the past spring and summer. And so this shouldn't come as a surprise to any of the leadership teams.
It seems there's some difference, Geoff, between promises and real plans. I think back to Foxconn, 8 or so years ago, promising this big LCD plant in Wisconsin that really never happened. Is the lead time less for this pharma stuff? How likely is it that the things that companies promise to do now to avoid the stick actually turn into a full-grown carrot?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. And the funny thing is that a lot of companies have 5 or 10-year plans to grow CapEx and grow their manufacturing footprint. And that includes everything from, API, the active pharmaceutical ingredient, to, the fill finish, the final product. And so my guess is that since this has become a priority for President Trump, that companies just became more public with their plans, and maybe they accelerated their plans. And so it's hard to say what was in the works already versus sort of new net, investments. But either way, though, I think there's going to be he's going to want some sort of proof that this is actually happening. It's kind of hard to stop. It's kind of hard to fake that. So my suspicion is that you'll see a lot of new plants breaking ground if they haven't already this year going into next.